Welcome to the 9th regular meeting of the School Board of Directors of MSAD52. Could I please have Mr. Shostak lead the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. This is not my chair's report, but I'm going to just speak real quick. I apologize in advance. We are attempting to become more environmentally friendly and technologically savvy, and God help us all. And financially responsible, because we can now see stuff in color.
Without having to print it.
Yes. So we're going to see how it goes. This is our test night. We'll be having discussions to see if we want to continue this way. For those of you who have witnessed us in budget season before, you'll know that this is really a budget season type little phenomenon. So that being said, we're going to unfortunately go just a smidgen slower tonight because our next action is to talk about the minutes. So is everybody have the minutes available to them? That being said, is there the minutes of the 8th regular meeting? Anybody have any questions, concerns, comments, or suggestions to be made on the minutes of the 8th regular meeting?
So, are people seeing those minutes? I'm not seeing them.
We're going to one of my requests, since we're going technologically this way a little bit, is to make sure that we have as much information available to the audience as possible as well. So we're going to try to have it up on that screen as best as possible. Again, this is a working evening.
They were in the email.
They were in the email.
Oh, they were in the email, just not in here? All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I can't show them, but everybody has them.
But they weren't part of this folder we got?
Yeah, so
okay.
that'll be a note.
Okay.
Upgrade.
Well, going back to the minutes, does anybody have any questions, or do we want to, did everybody get a chance to see them? If not, we can hold off to the next meeting. Anybody have any concerns with the, apparently came in the previous email? I'm not seeing any, so we'll move on, saying that we're going to accept them as presented by email to us.
Carrie, they're in the other.
Well, we've moved past.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
in the other folder?
yeah, in the
Thank you.
subcommittee and-
Subcommittee folders,
and-
final minutes. Ooh, nice.
There you go.
Okay, there they are. You all, so did people know?
You guys can read them from there, right? Sorry.
Excellent.
Can I share this with
You question my eyesight?
Oh, because she shared with Garrett instead, yeah. You should share it, okay. That's why Garrett's got it, so yeah, share it.
All right.
Whew!
So that takes us to the report of the board chair. Primarily tonight, we have a lot of business to go through, so we're going to try to get through as fast as we can. We have a bunch of executive sessions. We still, so yeah, I can't think of really anything else. I'm just going to ask, especially if we continue with this, to remember these are basically solely to be used for what's presented in front of us. I don't even know if we have internet access, but I'm hoping that so we do have internet access, so I'm hoping that we're not going to see a bunch of people searching information and so forth.
Just download the solitaire for yours.
Works or, cool, how? So, you know, if somebody from the audience says something that we want to look it up, let's do it later, not this evening. But we'll see how it progresses from here. Superintendent Mitt, your report.
Nope.
Oh, wait a minute,
Do you have a
communications.
report?
Oh, I'm just jumping right up to public comments.
It's like, oh, I'm not ready.
No, I have a computer in front of me. So
I know.
All right, let's take us to public comment. Do we have any public wishing to comment this evening? Not seeing any? All right. That takes us to communications. Do I have communications?
You do. Let me get them.
See, I'm getting it by
It's in the
paper,
folder.
but now I have to go backwards. Yeah, so I would technically have to go where?
They're not actually in your folder because they come, this one, they come in later.
Oh, so, okay. So we have communications, which for the chairman is mostly donations.
Correct.
All right, we have donation of $289. Turner Elementary School was fortunate to receive this donation from the Turner Parent Teacher Committee. This money will be used to support school spirit activities, such as the prizes for Ugly Sweater Contest we have each year. So that is awesome. We have another communication. Yeah, might as well. The high school received $250 donation from the Turner Food Pantry to support our students in need. They'll use the funds to support the food closet at the high school. So I thank, the board thanks both the food pantry and the parent-teacher conference at Turner Elementary Committee, sorry. And that's all I have, to the best of my knowledge, so it's up to you.
Yep, so I'm gonna report resignation, Monica Grillo, Administrative Secretary for Special Education, December 26th effective. New hires, Linda Harris, Food Service Assistant, signed at the high school. She began this week. And then Patrick Romar, Special Ed Tech 2 at Leeds Central School. He was a sub for us and then got all his certification, so we've backdated his start date to 11/25. So he's been here but is now official. And we've added a sub at a variety of schools, 2 subs at a variety of schools. That's all I got.
There's one more. The minutes, but that's not effective yet.
That one, it's not okay.
Okay.
We'll add that one next time.
All right, that's all.
Okay?
All right, that takes us to adjustments to the agenda, which we do not have any, I do believe.
Nope.
So that takes us to the Finance Committee. Ashley?
We did meet this morning. We voted to approve the, oh no, we voted, I think Gabby just told us we're doing this. The snowplow contract. So PTV can probably speak to this more, it sounds like you guys went over this in your meeting, but we're contracting that out, the plowing of the driveway. So maintenance used to do that, but it's quite a bit of work and being down maintenance employees, it just didn't make sense. So we are now contracting that out over a certain number of storms. And then
Can I ask, all of them or just one specific school?
The 4 schools in Turner
And central office.
and central office, yeah. Leeds and Green, we're plowing ourselves.
so the contract is for 14 storms at 1,400.
So we didn't do the bulk amount, we're doing it per storm?
Per storm. But if we go over 14 storms.
Nope,
No, it's just,
just per storm.
I think it was 3657 per storm.
Okay.
And that way, if we have 2 storms, that's all we pay for. If we have 30 storms, well, I'm praying that we don't.
We're
have
all
those,
gonna be
but-
really sad if we
Yeah,
have
we're
first.
not gonna be happy.
We got bigger problems.
Mhm.
So they did go to bid, but only one, they were only able to get a bid back from one contractor who's away in the season. So next year we'll move on out a little quicker, have some more bids. Gabby showed us the CD renewal rate, which have gone down prior year, and they may be going down again. We'll see what the Fed rates look like, but we'll still be putting funds into one of those to get interest earnings. And then we discussed opening the policy for more employees to participate in the main PERS retirement plan. And that came up, just kind of looking at if particular employees requested to participate in it. What Gabby found out is that you can't just allow one employee or one position, it has to be open to a whole group of employees. So right now, it's only available for employees that are managing other employees, directors or managers that have employees under them. And then we discussed, so we voted not to move forward with allowing those, because allowing one would open it to all of them, which would be a financial burden to us going forward. And then we voted to approve amending the policy, and Gabby's gonna come back with wording on what that would look like, so that would ultimately come to the board for a vote. So previously, if you were participating in Social Security, you could not participate in main PERS, correct?
So under our section 218, Social Security is first and foremost as a retirement, but the individuals who are eligible to participate in the participating plan, it's called a PLD plan, can opt in when you first are hired at the district. There is an option to be able to allow someone who's opted out every year for the first 5 years of employment to reconsider this. And we felt that it was a benefit to be able to change the policy to allow someone to opt in within those first 5 years. when you can further understand what's happening, plus the change in law, where you can participate in Social Security if it's still there, and the PLD plan.
This does come, if those employees that opted out decide to opt in, it would be an increase to the benefits budget. The thoughts being that this would be, this is a good retaining and recruiting benefit for employees to have at that managerial level, the ability to opt in after 5 years. And that is it.
Thank you, Ashley. Does anybody have any questions for the Finance Committee? No, not seeing any. PTB, yeah, Mr. Cutter.
So we met on Monday afternoon. We talked about the plowing contract like Ashley mentioned. Dave was there to give us a rundown on that. Just like she said, based on staff shortages, it made a lot more sense to have the big parking lots contracted out because they have all the equipment they really need. Doing it with pickup trucks is really laborious and time-intensive process that we're not super equipped to do. And being short employees, it kind of compounded the trouble. So it allows the employees we have to focus on the walkways and paths and getting those ready for the traffic. He also updated us on the water project at Turner Primary. Going pretty much according to plan. It's hit a little bit of a slow spot where Dave thought we would be a little bit further ahead, but still looking good for spring completion. And then we started into the process. We had put out the RFQ for architect firms for the long-term, kind of bigger budget projects that we have across the district. We had 4 that returned our request, and we're moving forward with setting up interviews to narrow down who we may end up using in the future.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for PTB? No, not seeing any. Policy Committee, Crystal.
We met this evening. We reviewed ILD, which is Educational Research, Student Submission to Surveys, Analyses, or Evaluations, which Anthony had brought forward to us. We are hoping to get a little bit more information. We want to know the number of opt-outs from last year when we did the Maine Youth Health Integrated Survey. And we're going to have the results presented to us at before February break. So we agreed unanimously to table it until March once we have all of that information. The next one that we discussed was EEA, which is Student Transportation Services, and we just did a review on that. That was just to refresh people's memory about people who might be at daycares or just beyond our town lines. And there is a process at the bottom of the policy that if you have questions to go to the transportation director and start there if there's anybody out there with questions. Gabby reviewed with us GBP, which is Earned Paid Leave, and then the Earned Paid Leave Administrative Procedure. There were just some legal changes with earning 40 hours, which can now roll over 1 year. And you can accrue another 40 years, but you can never have more than 80. That it caps there. So that will just be a change for the next meeting. It'll be on our first reading in the consent agenda. And then we reviewed JL, which is our wellness policy. We are hoping to invite Dave Roberts to one of our next meetings to have some conversations about nutrition in our schools.
Thank you very much.
I have no idea when our next meeting is.
Somewhere in 2026.
Yes.
Somebody have any questions?
January 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony?
Oh,
No,
it says
that's wrong.
December
It says-
18th.
It says 18th,
That's weird.
That's today.
You're meeting again later
Sometime
today.
in January.
Oh, it says on my minutes.
So,
What does it
all
say
right.
on
Okay.
the minutes?
It says
January
that January 22nd at 7 a.m. We're changing that. though.
That's fine.
Well, that's what
We got a lot of, okay.
We got some more.
January 22nd would be the right date, though.
No, we're good, we're
You can
good.
have that time slot.
Thank you, Alex. I heard you like it.
Alex won't be there, so it'll be open.
All right, Anthony, you had a question?
Yes, you said that you reviewed ILD that I brought forward. So you reviewed the amendments that I suggested to the policy?
With that and knowing that we have other things coming forward, we wanted to see the results of the survey from last year And we feel like maybe that might be the only survey that we might be really concerned about opting in or opting out.
So is that a yes, you discussed, you reviewed my amendments, or is that a no, you have not yet?
How do I want to say this? Yes, we discussed opt-in, but we wanted more information.
Because I noticed that the amendments that I proposed were not actually part of the backup.
Oh, I have them in my packet. Did they not go out? Sorry.
They were not part of the backup.
Well, that's another
available.
note we'll take down.
Okay.
Well, I can address that,
Good.
I guess. So what I had prepared to present to the committee was the current policy with a suggestion that you brought forward, and they had all that backup information with what you requested. And then the committee this evening, like Crystal said, discussed it, and rather than taking action on it, they wanted to wait until there's a board presentation and to have me and Carrie gather some more information.
So when you say that you discussed it, you went through line by line, you talked about each of the amendments.
No, then I guess we didn't do it line by line for your amendments. We just globally talked about opt-in or opt-out.
Because there's more than just opt-in in those amendments.
Correct. I guess it was a starting place.
So you will be reviewing the amendments at a future meeting.
Yes, it'll probably be after February break, because Carrie, before February break, will be doing a presentation on the results of that particular survey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the policy committee? All right, not seeing any. That takes us to curriculum. Bree.
We did not meet, so we'll be meeting in January.
And that takes us back to Crystal, Tri-Town Teachers Association.
Yes, we had our first full meeting the other day, and that was a really fun, I say fun. That's not the right
Productive.
word. It was really productive. It was
Yes.
really nice. It's a really interesting collaboration. That's what it really feels like, and it's nice to not be just sequestered over here and they're sequestered over there, and it's like a duel, and it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like a conversation, which it's nice. We meet ourselves again on the 6th of January, and then the next full, with both sides, is the 13th of January. So we'll review our issues, and we got interrupted at the very end by a fire drill. So that kind of like, I felt like was a little icky at the end. But
The popcorn machine,
Yeah.
there was a basketball game, and the popcorn machine set off the fire alarm at the basketball game. But it was like 7:25, we were
yeah,
5
we
minutes
were
from the end.
totally almost at the end.
All right.
But that's it.
And we'll have more information in
Executive
executive.
session.
Yes.
That takes us to our student representation,
Oh, wow.
combination of words there, dude, sorry. Student representative report. Mr. Whitmore, Ricky, what do you got? And I'm sure it's not, I do apologize.
It's near Christmas break, so everything's kind of slowing down in school. But Key Club has been active, I know that. Miss Korchesny has been pushing us to fill out the tags on the giving tree that she's put up. Yesterday we did infant safety kits. We did packaging for those at St. Dom's in Lewiston. And then there was a donation from Key Club to the Turner Food Pantry for $523. It was made from our craft fair. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Have any questions for seeing any? Takes us to administrator reports. And first up is our host for the evening, Principal Bartash.
So I have that report, but I also wanted to report a little bit more on inclusion. We've had 2 schools come to visit Turner and to visit here. We've had Freiburg and Augusta. They've gone really well. It's been validating. We're getting some positive feedback for some of the work that we're doing. They've been very interested in our schedule that we've created here. They have had time to go into classrooms and kind of see inclusion working mostly in the 5th, 6th grade classroom because of how it's working with their visit here. We've been able to, as a result of the inclusion and our school improvement grant, we've been taking deeper dives into all of our data and able to see the areas that we need to focus on a little bit more. And just today, micro-credentials have been offered for our staff, that they can start learning more about inclusion. And then there's also a piece that we can offer to some families and give them a code that they can also learn more about inclusion.
Everybody was able to follow the, anybody have any questions for Principal Bartosh? Seeing no, thank you very much. That takes us to Principal Mates. No, Gammon, sorry, I jumped ahead. Normally I have it crossed out. Principal Gammon.
So December at a primary school is very busy, as you can imagine, with a building full of 4 to 7-year-olds. There's lots of Christmas spirit going on in our building right now. It's very exciting. So some things that we have been part of is we have a giving tree, SR1, filled bags, large bags, for 12 of our children. Keller Williams Realty with Angela Lee filled 4 large bags. And the community has been amazingly generous. We had a grandfather who came in and just gave us $100 here, buy stuff for the kids. So we are overwhelmed with generosity from the community for our children. Very, very exciting. The PTC has been super busy this fall. They did candygrams for TPS and the elementary school, and families and anybody could buy a candygram for somebody. We made sure all the kids got one, the teachers got one, the staff. It was a fundraiser for them, but it was very exciting because there was little notes, like families could write notes to their student, and then it was delivered to them with a candy cane. It was a great idea, and hopefully we'll do it again next year because it was very well received. Turner Primary also won the Coins for a Cause Challenge, so I have to kiss a pig in January, which is very exciting to the kids. It doesn't bother me, I'm not gonna tell them that, but it doesn't bother me. I was born and raised on a farm, so I've kissed a lot of animals, but the kids are very excited, and there's one little girl that every day when I see her, you're gonna kiss a pig, you're gonna kiss a pig. Yes, honey, I know, like, it's gonna be the highlight of their year, I think. And I think one of the most exciting things that we've had happen at our school is our pre-K teacher, Amy Duguay, won the Patience Moment Award, and we are celebrating her very much in the last week or so. So that was very exciting for us and surprising her and the staff with that announcement. So.
Does anybody have any questions for Turner Primary School? Not seeing it. Thank you very much. Now, Principal Mates, what do we got?
I just wanted to highlight some of the data on our report, most specifically our attendance is staying pretty strong at 96%, which is pretty incredible for middle school kids that have to be there at 7:20 in the morning. I think a lot of it has to do with some of the systems we put in place. I've been talking over the last couple of years about being using the BAR framework. We've updated as of December, if you look at the different levels, and again, 63% of the kids, according to the descriptors, are thriving at the middle school level, 28 at a level 1, which means some small interventions or tweaks can get them where they need to be. Only 6% at a level 2 and 3% at a level 3, which would mean that they require like community, it's called Community Connect, but it would be additional community resources in order to like successfully navigate the middle school. Another piece sort of down at the bottom, I always update the number of students that we have participating in clubs and extracurriculars. For some of them, that's sort of the reason that they come to school, but we get them there and then the learning happens. We're at 80%, so 80% of our student population is participating in at least one thing, and I think that all sort of ties back to our attendance as well. And the last piece, I just wanted to highlight, discipline. Our discipline, it feels really good in the building right now. We still have, some of the small behaviors, but not the big behaviors. 2 years ago in December, we had 10 out-of-school suspensions. Last year in December, we had 6 out-of-school suspensions, and this year in December, we only have 4 out-of-school suspensions. Same thing with in-school suspensions, trending down, so.
Ashley?
Curious, the high school partners alpine skiing with EL, is that an option for middle schoolers?
We do it with Auburn Middle School.
Are any of the kids participating?
Anybody else? Oh,
This is
Anthony?
really more sort of a question for the superintendent. I noticed in the just previous report, there was mention of, report cards going home. I would personally find it super helpful to, if reports made it standard that when student grades were available, that was somehow presented to the board as part of their report, that X percent of students are getting A's, X percent B's, that kind of thing. It would really help being able to compare, at least for me, make sense of the kinds of assessments that we're doing here and then the kinds of assessments that the state is doing, and being able to look at the two and try to reconcile differences that might occur between them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll talk with principals about what that looks like. Because there'd be multiple content areas, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just like this many kids have, the
Sure.
kids are getting a 4, 3, 2, 1, so.
There are different subject areas, so sure.
And whether or not, yeah, we'll look into it.
Thank you.
Anything else? Not seeing any. Thank you very much. That takes us to, I do apologize. Director Drysdale.
Thank you. So I provided in my board report this evening a new partnership that we are entering with CDS and with our students at Turner Primary. Leeds and Green will be able to access the partnership. We're going to be calling it, it's for 3 and 4-year-olds. It's going to be called the Owl's Nest, which is super exciting. And these are for, it's essentially a drop-in special purpose preschool. So we have our drop-in day treatment program at Margaret Murphy Green for pre-K to 6th grade. And so this program is going to be literally another drop-in program in a classroom in the pre-K wing for students that have a variety of extensive support needs to be able to attend school. And their classroom is going to open up into the other classrooms and being able to experience pre-K. We had started looking at this in the fall because we had extensive support needs of students coming in. We were worried about being able to service them. We had multiple students on wait lists for special purpose private schools. And so we wanted, as a solution, we were looking to other districts, we were looking to CDS for support, and we learned about Auburn at Sherwood Heights has a CDS partnership program, much like we have our Margaret Murphy program. And so that led me to reach out and connect with Carrie and connect with CDS. And we have Elaine and Anna, the principal, and both Cheryl Woodard, our pre-K coordinator, had gone and visited the program in Auburn. And then we were able to pull some pieces together to be able to do that. So we're super excited. We were worried about staffing. That was our one, because staffing in special education is an issue. But we've had a lot of interested candidates. It was posted, I believe, just in December, and they already have a teacher that's lined up for us, and a teacher from the community, so that's really exciting. And then we have 3 ed techs. So we're looking to, at this point, it's a matter of clearing the space, ordering the materials, The materials, again, are going to be much like we had last year, ordered through with our pre-K money from the DOE. We're going to be ordering some, but we're going to be using all of the pre-K money for that. So we're going to outfit the classroom, and then from there, we'll be able to have students come in. We're hoping to start the program, I think February 23rd is the date after vacation. Because we think it's going to take us a little while to get the ordering done in January and for all of the furniture, equipment, and books to come in for students. So really excited about that. That's going to give us an opportunity to serve as at least, well, around 8 students.
To begin with, it could increase to more based on the needs of the students and staffing.
Yes, yep. So we're looking to have the Auburn model has 4 students in the morning and 4 students in the afternoon, and they run 5 days a week. The sessions are about 2.5 hours. So we're going to be working with transportation and parents to support transportation as well. Because we've been finding a lot of our pre-K parents want to transport their children to school. So that's a new partnership that I wanted to share and celebrate. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that we've had since August 27th, we have had 64 IEP meetings for 3 and 4-year-olds. So that is referral IEP meetings, transfer IEP meetings, students coming in. And for the referral process, each of those children would have, that are referred, would have 2 meetings. So there are multiple students that have 2 meetings. We have 30 students right now, 3 and 4-year-olds that are receiving services. And then 10 of those are 3-year-olds. And we have about 9 still in the referral process. We're continuing to receive referrals and process those as fast as we can. So this program, we're hoping will really be able to bring in more students. We are going to be able to service students that are already on wait lists for special purpose private schools, students that are in the referral process, and students that we have in the 3 schools. The majority of the students right now will be coming from Turner because that they have a pocket students with exceptional support needs. So those are students that have significant disabilities with behavior, communication, and cognitive delays as well. So I just wanted to share that. Super exciting. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Ashley?
You noted here that there's unique challenges, unique needs for the 3 to 4-year-old that's making it harder. Is that pretty specific to this group of kids, or do you think you would have seen those unique challenges had those kids come to school at pre-K?
We would have seen them when they would come to kindergarten, if they were serviced by CDS, and then they would come to us if we weren't providing special education services. But this has allowed us to see them sooner and get to know them. I don't have the data in terms of looking at severity over the years, but it feels significant in terms of the number of students that have extensive support needs. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
So an above average, you would say.
Yes. Yes. Julie?
I think it's also making connection with parents and building that trust with them. I believe we have families that would never receive services through CDS and have reached out to us because we're local. They know us from their older children. So to get them in the building and to provide these kids with services, early interventions is amazing. And we're building trust with the parents and the families and bringing them into our schools. So that's been a really big positive as well.
And I was just saying one more thing. We're able to serve the children in our community where they might have gone on wait lists for years sometimes. So most of our children are able to access speech and occupational therapy and physical therapy services. So that's been a great thing.
And Cheryl's been providing special education services for those students that are on our wait lists that wouldn't probably have had an opportunity to come into school. So they're learning about building, they're learning about different areas, play, interacting, food, where the kitchen is. Some of them are, food just shows up. So they are very curious to where the food is coming from.
So a follow-up. when you say unique needs, are these needs that you're seeing for the first time that aren't existent in some of the older kids that you guys are servicing?
I think so the unique needs are in terms of, we have students coming to us that are nonverbal. We do have students that are nonverbal, but they are older and may have had more experiences that we're starting to interact with 3-year-olds, but we have not interacted with 3-year-olds necessarily that were nonverbal, or significant behavior needs, or cognitive disabilities. So I think it's also, we're learning to adjust to the younger age level, and that's great because by the time they reach the middle school or the high school, they will have significant therapies and supports to be able to have them access greater inclusion as well.
And I think that is the trend around the state for when districts have opted in, that they're seeing higher numbers of families accessing services that they would not either, they tried to get services and couldn't, or they just didn't try. So that seems to be that when it's being run out of the public school, I think what Elaine said is accurate. Like, people know the school, they know, like, they have familiarity, know people in the community, so they are reaching out, where in the past they didn't reach out. Now, of course, the funding was based on the CDS numbers, but the numbers that are showing up for districts that are making this transition far exceed the numbers that CDS was serving, and they couldn't serve, and they couldn't provide the services. So I think it's going to be a really interesting challenge, because the last time Rebecca and I met with the state folks, they meet with us once a month to sort of check on our progress. I expressed my dismay at sort of feeling like they didn't give us enough guidance on to be properly staffed. Now, in fairness to them, like, you know, this is new to them as well, but we definitely could have used an additional staff member sort of administratively, and we'll be needing to do that in the future, just because, like, right now the burden has been sort of accepted by Rebecca and the assistant director, Lucy. But Lucy's job is almost full-time pre-K now, but she already had a full-time job before we pulled up pre-K. So I think we're having growing pains in that piece of it, and Cheryl certainly has had a heavy lift at sort of like learning this role as well. But we're settling in, but it's definitely we're going to need to correct the staffing issues for next year for sure.
Anthony?
My question was just answered by the superintendent.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? And remember, sometime, we're hoping in January, we're going to have all our legislators here that represent us, so this might be a question to ask them as well. Okay. All right, that takes us to Assistant Superintendent Gillis.
So, I'll start with, I don't have any grant updates. I usually say that at the end, but okay. So over the past 2 weeks, I guess, since we last met, I have continued to work with teachers and instructional coaches in our district on ELA and on the ELA curriculum. That is back on track, I would say. We are uncovering lots of areas which will need our attention, which is awesome, because we have some great people, including our instructional coaches, Carolyn Minato, Alicia Sroy, and Megan Fenton, who are really helping with this K-12 group. Science teamwork begins the end of January. We have a committee of teachers that represents kindergarten to high school. And we've also started I've started a refocus on program implementation. We have grade level leaders and ELA curriculum team leaders who have been gathering feedback, particularly in regards to the pacing guide and assessments for our inter-reading program. Trainings continue for illustrative math with instructional coaches and 1 or 2 teachers per school. That's the 5 schools. We have, even though we have 1 teacher at Turner Primary School who's piloting it, she's been attending the training along with the other schools that are implementing illustrative math. We are going to continue our professional learning for both programs through the rest of this year. And we are already starting to plan for training for our K-2 teachers who will begin teaching illustrative math next year. And that is all I have to report.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Assistant Superintendent Gillis? Not seeing any, thank you. Takes us to Superintendent Ned. What's up?
So, so I know that everyone is aware of the 2 student deaths that have occurred around transportation in the state, and certainly that conversation has been had amongst the administrative team, I'm assuming in school buildings with teachers. So met with principals this morning, and we began planning for January to do some renewed safety training with our students, particularly our younger students, for the process and procedure for waiting for the bus, getting on the bus, getting off the bus, like what all that looks like, making sure that they're following principal bus driver directions. So we're going to do some practicing around the bus. That happens every fall anyway, so it's just a good time to sort of bring the buses back to those schools and have students practice again. Right when we get back, Jim Sequeira is going to meet with all the transportation folks to just reiterate and review all the sort of safety measures that are already in place, but it's just a good time to talk them through. Middle school and high school students will get sort of age appropriate, it's a little bit different, but I would say even, I've been involved in a meeting at the middle school with a student not following the bus driver's directions for waiting for the bus, getting on and off, that kind of thing. So some review there, and then certainly for high school kiddos who are driving, sort of the reminders of their obligations when lights are flashing and things like that. So we definitely are talking about that, and we're going to be using January to sort of do that re-education and really emphasize that. And also, Shannon shared some videos this morning in our meeting. Leeds does a great job of making those, so I think creating those videos to then send home to parents so that they know what their kids are being taught, so that they can reiterate that at home. So like, this is what we're teaching your kids here, please watch that at home. We had a lot of success with that when we sort of developed our new behavior plan for behavior. We sent home videos, we made parents sign up, so we're just going to keep with that because it was successful when we did that, so we're going to just do that again. So parents will see that in January, those videos going home, so that they can make sure they understand what their kids are being asked to do. I was able to sit and eat lunch with the Augusta staff that Shannon was telling about. Rebecca, Teresa, and I sat with them. Part of what those schools, when they're visiting TES and LCS, because they're model schools with the inclusion, is a focus on leadership. And so they meet with the central office staff to find out what role we've all played in that, in terms of like supporting principals, making sure that we have a big picture plan, making sure that we're looking at data and sort of making plans around that, and then appropriately supporting principals to help their buildings move forward. And we got a lot of feedback, good feedback, similar to what Shannon said, but the 3 of us, we're not in school buildings, so we don't always hear that. It was great to have them sort of be able to feel like they're taking away something from what people at our level are doing and what roles we play in that growth and progress. So it was helpful, it was good. I enjoyed that meeting. And then again, Patience Norman, I will just say, I want to thank the committee that helped with that. So it was Kyle, Jenny, and Anthony helped us with that selection. And what I loved about the fact that it was Amy Duguay is when we were covering for Elaine's cruise, as she likes to call it. Elaine was on a cruise at the beginning of the year. So when she was on her cruise, and Teresa and I and Rebecca were rotating in before Teresa took fully over. On the days that I was there, I was doing lunch with Amy Dugay's pre-K kiddos. I was sort of like pitching in to do lunch duty with them. And watching somebody who's as skilled and gifted as she is, watching that live and sort of seeing that in progress was really cool. So to be able to provide her with that kind of recognition was really fun for me, because that's not typically what I get to do. So it was a happy, I don't know what the word is, happenstance, that I'd been in her class and then could give her that award. And having the kids, like, I've learned now, it took me a while. The first time I did Patience Norman at Green, I sort of got excited and realized, like, oh, you can't really get excited like that with little kids. So I did a better job, but as soon as I say they're getting $5,000, like, they were done. Like, it was hard to reel them back in. So I've gotten better with, I'm used to high school kids and like you can kind of get them quiet and pumped up, but little ones, once they're pumped up, like you can't really rein it back in. So I've refined my excitement around them. And then tomorrow's a half day before a 2-week vacation. Seems like every 7-8 years we end up with a 2-week vacation, and so this is the year. So everybody is excited and I would say in need. So that's what I got. And then, we have one item on the consent agenda. We have a teacher at Turner Primary School, Angela Gallant, who is finishing her first year of probation. She was hired mid-year last year. We had a resignation in the middle of the year, so she was hired in the middle of last year. So her probationary year is off from everybody else. So Kim started her evaluations last year. Elaine did a great job of finishing those off, so she's moving into her second year of probation based on our recommendation. So you'll see her name next winter, presuming everything goes as great as it's going now. All of her reviews are awesome, where she will move to continuing, and then she'll be on the right rotation with everybody else. So Angela Gallant is being recommended to move to a second year probationary contract.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the superintendent? Not seeing any. Thank you so much. That takes us to the consent agenda, which consists of one item. This item is to be acted upon collectively. There's only one, unless the board member asks that a specific item be acted upon individually. Would anybody like to address 8.1.1? All right, not seeing any. Do 8.1 to act on the appointment of the following for the 25-26 school year. 8.1.1 probationary contract teacher second year. Do we have a motion? Anthony, do we have a second? Kyle? All right, all those in, any discussion? Oh, no, it's consent agenda, no.
Right.
So, all those in favor? All those opposed? Teresa's opposed?
No, I'm not.
All right, that was unanimous. Old business. Second reading and adoption of revised policy KF, use of school facilities, KFE1, fee schedule, and KFE2, conditions for use of Leavitt Area High School auditorium, and deletion of KF-R, use of school facilities, regulations, and KF-3, fee schedule and estimate worksheet. Do we have a motion? We have a motion from Joe. Do we have a second from Kyle? Any discussion? It's the second reading, so after this it goes into seeing none. All those in favor of 9.1? All those opposed? Unanimous. That takes us to new business. And Director Morris, the presenter of our toys. Uh-oh.
I did put a PDF of the presentation in your folder if you want to see it.
All right, good evening. It's been a while. I think that's a good thing. I think last time I left off with no news is good news, so most of this I think is all good news. I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what I've been up to, what my department has been up to when it comes to supporting the district and their technology needs. Just a summary, there's 5 full-time IT employees, myself, 3 district-wide technicians, and our data manager, Jason. With the onset of going one-to-one pre-K through 6, we didn't add any full-time staff. So what we've done is use the technology teachers in the buildings at the beginning and end of each year to get the devices ready for those kiddos. I thought that was kind of creative use. It's again, not something I'm trying to take credit for, it's something they were already doing, but just that's how we get by managing 2,500 plus computers. So, reminder, again, we're one-to-one. That was something the district wanted to do long before I was here. It was actually in the prior technology plan to get to that point. Obviously, the thing that nobody ever wants to go back and talk about got us there quicker. But so we have iPads in pre-K through second grade, and we've now switched to Chromebooks 3rd through 12th. Previously, we had MacBooks at the middle school level. The MLTI model has changed. So they'll offer us devices for a single grade level per year, and it's not strictly Apple any longer. You can do Chromebooks, Apple iPads, Apple MacBooks. There's even actually a Windows option some districts opt into. So we're switching to Chromebooks. It's a more affordable option for us, and it still addresses all the needs of the students. This is something that I showed, again, long ago when I came in and was kind of very wet behind the ears trying to figure out what was going on. The following slides are going to talk about how I address this. It's something that when I came in, it seemed like there was a lot of opportunity to, be more efficient, be more secure, and again, work on uptime, reliability. I apologize. I'm a tech guy, right? So I'm not supposed to be an introvert, right, in a closet, not like in front of everybody, stuttering and talking about this stuff.
You're doing great.
My apologies. So again, I'm going to just talk about a lot of the things that we've done over the past few years. Probably one of the biggest changes, the new phone system. And a lot of this you might have heard in prior years as I've had to come for approval, money, whatever it's been. This one was a good one. This saves us a lot of money and adds a lot of functionality, specifically the soft phone, which we were troubleshooting earlier. But what's been convenient about having what's called a smartphone, a soft phone, sorry, is that you can make or take calls on your phone, tablet, etc. It doesn't have to be a desk phone in a single location. So with a lot of employees, they're in multiple buildings, and that gives the flexibility that they can be reached fairly easily and not have to be tied to a specific spot or not accessible when they're working out of a different building. Another huge part of this is our old phone system was working on its own set of networking equipment. When we added this or switched to this phone system, I brought it into the internet infrastructure, trying to figure out how to bring it down.
I know, I said, watch your language.
I know, sorry.
Use words people understand.
So really what it let us do is in a lot of places we had 2 switches, even if there was only a handful of things plugged in. Now all those things are plugged into a single switch. Now I don't have to buy 2 switches. Helps again, save money, be more efficient. When I get to batteries, I'll talk more about that. When I came in, there was plans with grant funds to replace those phone switches. We instead pivoted because we didn't need to replace them and went with replacing the firewalls and consolidating those. We were in the town of Turner, all of the buildings come into the high school for their internet connection, and we were running an independent firewall per building. When I first came here, we've since consolidated to a single firewall that serves all the buildings. Again, just trying to be more efficient. Don't need to buy 6 firewalls, don't need to buy replacing 6 firewalls, it's just one. And then, here's my power. So I very quickly realized that we didn't really have any way to stay up and running in a power outage scenario. We had, again, prior to me, put in a generator interlock switch for the high school closet. Again, we know that's the most important. One I can tell it was never tested. So I think it was actually December of 2 winters ago.
Oh, it was
I think.
the December that all of us
pulled it out,
remember.
oiled it up, plugged it in, didn't work, and the problem being, again, all this stuff runs on UPS's battery backups, very, very sensitive to the power that's coming into them. The generator that was purchased was non-inverter, so the UPS is going not happy. So we corrected that, we got one, was able to just cough up some money and grab one of those as needed. We have actually used it, which is fantastic news, and it worked exactly as planned. Beyond that, though, we have some additional protection in place. Again, the battery backups that were in place, we were lucky to get a few minutes out of them. It was like, panic kind of thing, right? So we went through and put battery backups in each of the critical closet locations to keep phones up and running for at least 2 hours in every building. Again, we went from minutes to 2 hours. The plan being, you get an hour kind of determine why did we lose power? It's a beautiful sunny day. Is it something that's going to be fixed? Is it not? And then give an additional hour if you have to dismiss students to get them out of the building safely. So that was a big change. I will say, actually, I'm going to go back and just highlight the battery backups we went with are lithium-based, and what's neat about that is they're actually twice the lifespan. Typical lead-acid UPSs from back in the day, like a car battery, you're good 2 to 5 years They would never give you a warranty past that. They're actually warranted for 5 years, these lithium units, and estimated to be good for 10 years, which is awesome. We rewired Turner Elementary School. This was a big, big project, but definitely worthwhile. The wiring in that building was, for my estimate, 25, maybe 30 years old. It was a flat type of wire that can only go so far. So when they first did that, they had a bunch of data closets all over the building. It's not a very big building. With the new wiring standards, we were able to bring it into a single locked location. So we went from, again, between the phone project, this rewiring, from 5 closets down to one, I think it was 5 closets down to 1 closet, because it was 10 switches between the phones and the internet down to 2 switches. So big savings. I will say, we're probably gonna have to add a third, but still, much less than 10. And that switches cost, the cost of switches nowadays, trust me, you're glad I did this. And again, so we went with, this was last year, so it's the latest and greatest wiring. It'll, prepare us for ideally another 20, 30 years. That's my hope. Fingers crossed. I was actually able to apply for and we were awarded a grant, the Cyber Performance Grant. I think it was state-sponsored. We did the MLTI program, don't hold me to that detail. I want to say we were actually the biggest awardee of this grant. This is what we did for network security and how we authenticate onto the wireless network. Rather than, the traditional, here's the password, everybody hands it out, then we have to go change it and re-add every device. This is certificate-based authentication, and what that does is basically verifies it's you who's logging into the machine that we own, and now then it allows it onto the network where it belongs. We don't have to worry about changing passwords, we don't have to worry about people sharing passwords, we don't have to worry about who's on our network because we know specifically who's on our network. Multi-factor authentication, this is definitely something I was here and talked about. I think everybody's set up right now. All employees are covered by multi-factor two-step verification, as you might also hear it called. The YubiKey option was provided by the state and local cybersecurity grant program. It's a mouthful to say. In addition to that same grant program is providing is supposed to be providing a phishing platform that I'm working actively to set up. But we've additionally put in cybersecurity training annually. That helps with our cyber insurance premiums, if I'm not mistaken. Gabby, correct me if I'm wrong. And again, that's done every year as part of onboarding, no different than any of the other HR training. So, all right, other things, if that wasn't enough. ML work orders, you've probably heard Mr. Coburn talk about this. It was a kind of collaborative effort between maintenance and technology. It's a single platform for putting in any of your maintenance or technology needs. Historically, what I had witnessed is, we would go to a building to fix a problem and not realize there were 6 other problems that could have been addressed while we were there. This has been huge in addressing that. We can go and be very efficient. Again, we don't have more people, but we have more problems, so we need to be more efficient. A fun little fact, since August of 24, so what, a little over, is it a year and a half? Am I missing that? Year and a half. 3,700 total requests have been entered, 1,800 of which were technology specific. So lots and lots of problems for us to fix. Some of them are easy, some of them are not. My future plan on this program is it does have some capability for inventorying and assets and managing those. So I'm hoping to drag that in and do a better job with that. Typically, historically, it's been a spreadsheet. It's just cumbersome with, again, 2,500 plus computers, thousands of phones, or hundreds of phones, all that fun stuff. Print management. So again, historically, there was no effective way to securely print a job, meaning if a copier was in a generic location, you hit print, no saying somebody just walks by and grabs it, walks away with your paperwork. With printing IEPs, 504s, all these sensitive paperwork that we're printing, we needed a secure way to release jobs. And MyQ does that for us. So now the copiers are a secure print release workstation. Previously to that, and why I wanted to address this, is we had a fleet, dozens of desktop printers because we couldn't trust printing with a copier, right? And so that was very, very costly. I think I said it's a quarter of the cost to print on a copier as opposed to a desktop printer. So 4 times the cost to print on your desktop. And we knew that. We looked at the budget numbers. Toner was crazy. So we put this in place. I think it's been effective. We brought in color-capable copiers to bring down the cost of color printing when it's needed. We're trying to get away with that, which is a good thing. But fun thing too, again, where you have to be at the machine to release the job. We've actually saved 75,000 plus pages that otherwise would have been printed. you know, you hit print and you forget about it, and then it ends up in the recycle bin. But now that doesn't happen, so we're getting 75,000 pages-ish, probably north of that since I made this. Vivi, screen mirroring. Chromecasts is the way we did things historically. They cannot be managed centrally. They're kind of a nightmare. They were never meant to be used at this scale. It's great for your home, right? Not great when there's 50 in a building. It's chaos. So Vivi addresses that. This enables us to leverage the screens as signage as well, and also schedule power on and power off for the displays. Hoping that'll show a little bit of energy savings. Not sure how much, but something. And my future plan on this one is it has an option to integrate emergency alerting. So, you know, if we have a panic button per se, the building goes into lockdown, we could have all the screens say, we're in a lockdown, do this, do this, do this. You know, again, just another thing to help students understand what to do when they're maybe a little bit of chaos going on. I think the most recent thing that we've done now is Bright Arrow. This replaced School Messenger, which was what we were using for pushing out alerts of school cancellations, any other notifications we have to send out to parents. It additionally brings in a two-way chat function, so that way staff can communicate with parents and vice versa, and, you know, privately in a secure environment. We know that email existed, but it's never been very useful. Unifying communications has been something we've been trying to actively look at and try to address with as little expense as possible. And this, I think, is a great first step. They're adding functionality all the time. We're hopeful that we'll keep growing with them. Another helpful thing too is it integrates into PowerSchool, which everyone's already familiar with. That's where you put your grades in, where you see your student rosters. So you don't have to jump out to yet another platform. It's all right there. I have my hands in everything. I like it. It's something different every day, but just some other things that I didn't want to bore you all with. But door access, we've been working on cleaning that up. You know, trying to do some more automation with that, when the building can be open, shouldn't be open. Camera systems, we've been configuring cameras, re-aiming cameras, adding cameras as needed. Trying to do as much of that in-house to save as much money as possible. The hypervisor, that was, I know that's a cumbersome word. Basically, that's where our servers exist. That when I first came on board, that was woefully out of date. We did that. That was an early project. Data privacy is always something I'm, worried about, working on, making sure that our students' data is safe and being used responsibly by the vendors we work with. The streaming and licensing, Swank, weird name I know, but it's actually really cool. It's kind of like a Netflix for schools. I know that sounds bad out loud, but it's actually really helpful. There's a lot of films that are educational in nature, but you need to make sure that you have the appropriate rights to show those in class. Swank handles that handles all that for us. So you just load it up, play it. Continuing to work on device optimization. Again, there's not more of us, but there's more things to manage. So trying to streamline things, make it as easy for us to keep up and running and manage. ML Schedules is the sister product to ML Work Orders. That's how we're managing the facility schedules. Again, that was more so a Coburn thing, but I want to throw it in there because I have been involved. And then building automation and lighting. Again, technology and facilities, as you might imagine, work very, very closely. Lighting is, we did the lighting project, I think that was last year. They're actually all Bluetooth, believe it or not. They all talk to each other wirelessly. So, as you can imagine, we get dragged into that sometimes. Closing thoughts, finally. I know you're probably all ready to fall asleep. Again, technology touches nearly everything. The joke is if it plugs into a wall, call technology. Probably they can fix it. So just, again, I like to bring it up and be mindful that, it's not just us sitting in a closet staring at network switches all day. We're touching everything. And not that we want to, but we get dragged into it. It's fun. Upcoming challenges we're foreseeing, I hate to say it out loud, but pricing, between generative AI using up all the computing resources and, the elephant in the room, tariffs. We have already seen computers go up in price. RAM specifically was a really recent thing. I don't know if you've seen it in the news. There's a large RAM manufacturing company that is no longer producing consumer-based memory. Just a matter of time before that hits us, probably. We'll see. Hopefully someone picks up the slack and we don't have to worry about it, but things that I'm worried about. And then, just trying to stay ahead of the curve. Bad guys always try to stay, do something new to get in or affect us, so I'm just trying to address those as I see them. Again, pursuing efficiencies, there's not more time in the day, but there's more things to deal with, so just trying to do things efficiently as possible. And again, no news is good news. Hope to see you again in 3 years. No, I'm just kidding. I know that was a lot of technical jargon. If you have questions, go for it.
What size is your staff? Like, how many people do you have?
So
responding?
it's what did I say to me? 5 of us full time, myself included in that. Myself, 3 district-wide technicians. We've got 2 at the high school, 1 at the middle school, and a data manager who handles the student information system, frontline, et cetera, et cetera.
Anthony?
So going back to one of your early slides with your one-to-one devices, so am I to understand that every student has a device?
Yeah, they're not going home. I mean, they're used in classrooms.
Correct. Depending on the grade level, yeah. I think K through 2, they stay in the class. Are you guys sending home on remote days? Or not?
On remote days.
On remote days, they go home. But otherwise, they stay in the classroom. I don't think until 7th grade, in the middle school, is when they start going home regularly and, leveraged, probably nightly for homework assignments and as needed.
So I don't think that this is the time for this conversation, but I'll remind all of you that during budget season last year, I brought up the fact that we're putting iPads in the hands of kindergartners, and I questioned that expense. Since then, I've looked into it a little bit further. The signal is very, very, very strong that even modest amounts of screen time, regardless of the age of the student, has a serious and profound negative impact on learning. I think that we need to discuss this as a board sometime in the future, preferably before budget season gets too far underway. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Or thank you very much.
Thank you, Wally.
Yes, and
Wally, of the
hopefully it will not be 3 years.
Of the 1,800 tech requests you've gotten, how many was your answer?
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Have you started your computer? Because those are mine.
More than I care to admit.
FYI, those are mine.
IT requests.
No, I forget to try it. And then that's the answer, and then I'm reminded that I should have tried that first. So, just saying.
Tomorrow.
I usually just roll.
Jesus,
It usually fixes it. All right, thank you very much. All right,
Wally, you've got something that you've got to go to, so it's totally okay if you need to go.
yeah, there's no questions, so you are free. 10.2, finalization of gathering and addressing of public comment and signing of resolution to adopt Androscoggin Hazard Mitigation Plan 2024. Did at least 5 before 6. So first of all, is 10.2.1, we don't make a motion to, we're open for public comment, correct?
Correct. Do people want a little
Yeah.
summary of what it?
Absolutely. What are we talking about?
So Gabby's going to do the majority of this, but just a little bit of background, and PTD heard this. This is part of our process, our endless process of trying to get grant funds for a generator at the high school. Gabby.
So Cassandra, our dog with a bone, she.
Otherwise known as our grant writer.
Yes, also known as our grant writer. She did a lot of work around submitting the FEMA application for the generator. And after the submission, the individuals associated with it, the staff has changed a number of times, so that's been trying. But they came back and they said, okay, well, you don't have a hazard mitigation plan. And we all looked at each other like, what? So they said that we had to adopt the Androscoggin County's hazard mitigation plan. And we had several meetings with Androscoggin County representative, FEMA, NEMA, all those individuals. We had to review the Androscoggin County hazard mitigation plan. We had to develop our own as an offshoot of what they had related to any natural hazards that could occur. And then we had to offer public comment, which went out on December 5th, closed on December 15th. We had 0 comments. And then we had to, or we have to, and that's what we're doing here, bring it to the board, have board approval, but also offer public comment on said hazard mitigation plan again tonight. So I can read what the public comment notification was if you guys would like.
Does
It's
anybody,
right there, right?
it's
Oh, you have
available
it?
to us, we have it, does anybody feel the need to?
So do we have any comment?
So that opens us up to the public comment portion of our evening.
Just on hazard mitigation.
Just on hazard mitigation. All right, going once, going twice. Sold. Yes.
So again, this hazard mitigation plan is solely to be able to receive funding from FEMA. It clearly states that on Androscoggin County's hazard mitigation plan, and that is the purpose of why we're implementing one for our districts. So I actually have an official copy from Cassandra to have each of you sign. If you'd like to do that now.
So this one isn't the.
Do I have to, oh, do we need a motion or something?
Yeah.
Oh, am I jumping ahead? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're just about.
so it would be a motion to adopt the resolution.
Yeah,
That's-
sorry.
And this is what everyone will sign, so.
Does this need to be read?
Yeah, we can do, you want to
Well, I
read
don't,
that?
do we need to?
I don't know.
Well, let's do it, it's better
I
to be
think we
safe.
probably should.
All right, we have a motion somewhere there.
I'll read this too, yes. The Androscoggin County, I'll make a motion to approve the Androscoggin County Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan, Resolution of Adoption 2024. Whereas natural and man-made disasters may occur at any time, we recognize that to lessen the impacts of these disasters, we will save resources, property, and lives in Androscoggin County. And whereas the creation of a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan is necessary for the development of a risk assessment and effective mitigation strategy, and whereas the 2 cities, 12 towns in Androscoggin County, as well as the Androscoggin County and special districts, are committed to the mitigation goals and measures as presented in this plan. Therefore, the Androscoggin County Commissioners, or the boards of selectmen or city councilors of the 14 municipalities or special district hereby adopt the Androscoggin County Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan 2024 update.
That is the motion. Do we have a second? You don't have to read it. So. Jenny seconded it. Sorry, Kyle. You sad? Yeah. Okay, we have a motion by Joe, second by Jenny. Any comments, questions?
Just a note, we're considered a special district. There's about 5 of them. Most of them are wastewater treatment plants in towns. We're a school district. And it's 2024 because FEMA created a special process to backdate this. So we're following their workaround of needing this to be able to complete the grant.
So we have to retroactively
Right.
adopt this.
So that's why it's 2024.
Sorry. We're associated with the civil treaty. Yeah, sorry. All right, any other comments, suggestions, thoughts? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? I believe it's unanimous.
So we'll need signatures. We can probably do that. with
Yeah,
those
we have a couple
executive
executive sessions. Do we have to do more than one copy or just one copy?
Just one copy.
Yes, okay.
You're good in executive session for that?
Yeah, and I'll hold on to it
Hold
to
on.
you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. That takes us to 10.3, which is our last item from the evening before executive sessions. Discussion of the pending legal action regarding policy AC/DC, coordination of federal and state law. This is just a discussion. There is no actual motions or anything like that. This is just a heads up more than anything. I'm going to do my best. I started making notes on this on Monday, and I do not have any in front of me because every single day, if not twice a day, it has changed. So I'm going to give you the bare minimum that I can give you, and that's available at this time without it changing. First and foremost, this is in a public session because we do not have a lawyer at this time. So that's why we're in public session. Some of us, I believe, if you all haven't known, I apologize because I told you I would, but I think, I'm not sure, did we ever let them know? We were officially served on Monday. I don't know, but we were officially served on Monday. So since then, we've kind of gone back and forth, all different options, talked to different groups, talked to our insurance companies. Was it Monday?
Insurance company conversation was Monday.
Yeah, but I'm talking when we were served, Monday,
I think it was last
Friday?
Thursday or
I
Friday.
think it was Thursday, late afternoon.
Late the day, Thursday.
Okay. So yes, and since that time frame, we have talked to the principals, or no, sorry, the superintendents of the different schools that involve the 6 schools at this time. One of the things I want to emphasize significantly is we are different than the other 5 schools. The state, most news organizations don't seem to recognize that. Our policy, as you're all very much aware, solely is around student athletics and participation in female sports. We did not go the step towards personal space or private space, which I do believe, give or take a few words, the other 5 districts did. So there is some question coming forward on the potential cases coming from the state is based on the full policy on those other 5 schools, so that's some areas. There's been back and forth with a variety of different legal firms at this time. We've made no steps really forward, that's why nothing's coming before us at this time. We'll probably be talking about this in January, about hiring representation to do the bare minimum. And realistically, that's the majority of what's gone on. Not much information. We have been told by the insurance company, after some detailed conversation, because they've looked into it significantly. The school, there's 2 different overall insurance policies, and I'm looking to Carrie and Gabby probably to clarify this a little bit. We are covered under the board policy up to a certain amount, and so.
So let me say one thing about that, because we did have a clarifying meeting. So the insurance company, so we have general liability and school board liability. So this will be covered if we file a claim under school board liability. And the $250,000 is what the insurance company will cover, and that will be split amongst the schools who have been served. So it's not $250,000 for us. The total pot covered is $250,000 amongst the 6 school districts that have been named. So just for clarifying that.
Yeah. Now, there is some, did we ever clarify whether or not we're worth 2 different potential lawsuits, if that changes? Because we're different than, but
I don't think
there's
so.
still a lot
I
of
don't think so.
clarifications
I
to
don't
come
think
forward on that. So that is out there. We've been served. All this will come to a head where we have to actually start making some decisions in early January. Right now, that's primarily the most of it. I'm trying to think, I can't think of anything else really.
Yeah, I am getting legal guidance from our legal counsel Drummond on the process, because when I got the documents, I didn't I was like, I don't know what steps we need to take right now, so they are providing that legal guidance, and I actually reached out to Brand Isaacson as well, just in sort of doing due diligence to figure out what legal counsel might be able to provide, and Peter Lowe is the lawyer that I spoke with there, who provided also some really good legal advice. I think one thing that I took away from all those conversations is that to make sure that whatever decision is made around legal counsel, that we are feeling very confident that legal counsel is primarily focused on the interests of this school board and this district. So in terms of whatever the engagement letter looks like, whether or not our policy makes this different for us versus other school districts, sort of thinking through those things, which was helpful to just have it in the mind.
To clarify, we're both of those, Brand Isaacson or Jordan Woodson, are not actually going to defend us or work with us. As primarily the discussion was with Drummond Woodson, solely, as Carrie said, they're willing to help just to say, okay, here's a couple steps to take. But we definitely can't go very far with you on this, but, you know, we are your primary lawyer, so just to give you, like she said, so it's just giving us an idea on how fast we have, basically it's telling us how fast we have to choose who our legal representation is. And honestly, I actually asked the question, do we need it? What happens? That was one of my questions. What happens if we don't get legal representation? And that's still out there floating a little bit. So that's all discussions we're gonna have in January at this time. So, so that's just to emphasize. And there are, and we do have, we're not out there, there is legal, we do have legal options available to us, more than just one or two. So, so definitely there are gonna be some options available to if we feel we need them come January. Now, Anthony, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm curious why you think that our situation is different than the other schools. I'm gonna read from the policy that we adopted.
That's fine, yep.
It says, the board is committed to bringing the district into compliance with Title IX as interpreted in the Executive Order 1416-8, signed on January 20th, 2025, while complying with the Maine Human Rights Act to the extent that it does not conflict with federal law, and so on. So that executive order was not limited to sports.
But our policy
This is
primarily
what the policy says.
If you kept reading
Excuse me, excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Anthony, it's fine, keep going.
I think that the, if I were on the Maine Human Rights Commission, I would have a field day with this. If I came up against a school district that thought that they were only applying this to sports, and I would say, this is exactly what your policy says. How can you possibly construe this to mean that you are only applying this to sports? Because the executive order was not limited only to that. So I think that you would find yourself in a very tight spot, especially if you do not have legal representation. I think that this board should at least discuss with the other board chairs the possibility of joining their defense and splitting the legal cost with them.
And just to emphasize, that is not out of the realm. Again, this is all stuff we're waiting, you know, we're rushing, we're going through a big Christmas break. Our limited guidance to this point says we are fine to basically address this come first of the year once we have a little bit more understanding of everything. And so, yeah, you know, we're gonna have a full discussion about this on the board. So all the potential, excuse me, all of the potential legal representation options will of course be brought forward, you know. It's just not what I bring forward or administration suggests or anything. You know, if anybody, we're a board of 9. So, well, 9.
We have 20 days as of
We
last
still,
Thursday?
yes, but that's, we don't have to. What happens at that point is then it goes and we're served.
So
I believe.
if we don't acknowledge service within 20 days, so that would be December 29th, then we will be served by the sheriff's department. So that is the buffer time. Like, all that means is that the sheriff's department will serve us in person. Because as soon as we acknowledge the service, the 20-day clock starts for a response. And since we have not identified legal counsel yet, starting that clock as early as possible is not in our best interest.
So we're postponing that clock.
Right.
And so we're letting them come visit us instead of responding. But we will have all those options are out there. At this point, there's still a lot of discussion, but I know that there is one group, but I don't believe that group is completely together. Those 5 schools aren't all being represented by the same person at this point. So, you know, we're not really sure, you know, they're not even sure exactly what they're doing moving forward. They're still getting their ducks in a row. So I'm not excited to jump into the middle of it at this point. I still want to take a couple steps back and see what's what. is my initial thoughts. But everything has to be done. One of our very first meetings in January, this will be a fairly significant part of it. Did you have a?
Yeah, no, I'm just pulled up the policy. I
Yep.
think it's worth reading the exact wording. And I'll quote from the first paragraph: "The board understands that Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 requires schools to provide athletic opportunities separated by biological sex." We were very, very specific to that in our policy. And I do think, as you mentioned, Peter, it's different than the policies that were enacted by the other schools.
Yeah. Does anybody else? All right, Anthony?
I will just point out again, the title that was given to this policy was a terrible title. I tried to amend it, but you guys stuck with it. It is coordination of federal and state law.
Yep.
It is not MSAD52 sports policy.
No, I understand. I
It would
understand
be
that.
incredibly naive.
No,
It would be incredibly
nobody
naive
thinks.
and foolish to think that simply because we speak about sports in one part of the policy, that we are only speaking about sports in the entire policy when we say that we will comply with Title IX and the Human Rights Act, but only the Human Rights Act to the extent that it does not interfere with Title IX.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from, but none of us believe that the Maine Human Rights Commission is not going to address us regardless. Personally, I think they're going to kind of incorporate us in the current lawsuit. But our policy was voted on here solely to deal with athletics. Maybe if you read the things, somebody might, but our policy is solely athletics. It has nothing to do with personal space.
No, that's absolutely incorrect.
The policy says that, but anyways, that doesn't really matter at this point. The policy's out there. And so we'll see. We'll just see where it goes. But yes, we can incorporate certain words certain ways, but basically we all voted. When we voted, we all knew what we were voting on, and that this is solely a sports-related policy. Maybe not you, but the eight of us, I'm sure knew that.
Peter, I don't think that you should be putting thoughts into other people's heads.
I rarely do that. But that's. But anyways, I'm pretty sure, since that was the whole discussion around it, so that this was, this policy, and I'm actually gonna state that there is no question, Anthony. This is solely a sports team participation policy. This has nothing to do with bathrooms, nothing at all to do with locker rooms. This is solely, I don't care what the wording you're picking out to say, this is solely a sports team-oriented policy. If it had anything to do with bathrooms, and trust me, you read it, I wouldn't have voted for it. This is solely a sports team policy. So if you leave every word through there, it directs us towards that. Yes, we're talking about Title IX, but we're only talking about certain parts of Title IX. So that's, yes, it says we're trying to coordinate Title IX, the Maine Human Rights Act, but we're only worried about one part of that Title IX. But and then you, and anybody else if you want.
Well,
hold on, Anthony. He was first. Then you.
I thought you were pointing to
Yeah. No.
We you mentioned we got served. I'm curious, what the specific wording of that was. Are we going to be able to get a chance to see that notice?
Yeah.
I just we were talking about how I'm a bit confused in the conversation of whether we are being lumped into a group with other schools or whether you're serving
We
individually.
absolutely are lumped, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they used.
I mean, the one
I've
that.
seen it, but it was a while ago.
The one that I saw that was prior to us seemed to be pretty widely available, so I will scan it and send it out to you guys tomorrow.
I don't think it's not. It's public, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not. If you get it, it's public.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you can-
send it out.
It is specific. The
100%.
state is putting us in a group with other schools.
100%, we were added, we're added to the bottom of the list.
Okay.
Anthony?
It's nice that you think that about this policy, Peter, but that's not what the policy says. It does not say the board is committed to bringing the district into compliance with Title IX insofar as it refers to sports.
In the first
It
paragraph.
does,
it
it
says
does
that.
not say that.
It says in the first
It
paragraph.
simply does not say that. It absolutely doesn't. And if you wanted it to say that, then it should have been written into the policy, and maybe we should amend the policy to change it to that, because that's not what this policy actually says or means. It simply doesn't. You can't pretend that that sentence doesn't have a specific meaning due to the meaning of the words that you combined in that sentence. That's the whole point of language, is that each word has a meaning. You add them together, you create different meanings by changing the words. You cannot take this particular set of words and take that to construe that this does not apply to Title IX and all of it.
Okay, well, we'll look, and as we move forward in January, we'll see if maybe we do need to make an amendment. We'll see how it goes. That is basically what I know at this point. I don't know much of anything else. I do want to apologize because I did tell you that I was going to let you know when we got notified, but clearly I didn't. So I do apologize, but I don't think it was a surprise to any of you that we got it. So other than that, I think anything else I might over? No. So I think that's primarily what we're, 1st of January, we'll have to, and I believe in our hiring is public too, right? Not until after we hire them. So our discussion on who we hire for lawyer will be public session. We'll have to look into that. That might be executive, we're not sure, so. All right. Uh-oh, the screen went blank.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Same password.
I don't know what that is. All right, sorry. All right, anybody else have anything else on AC/DC, not the band? To my left, to my right, no? All right. Folks, this brings our public portion of 2025 to an end. I thank you all for coming. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and the best of New Year. We have 3 executive sessions we'll be moving into. So thank you all and have a safe trip home. Do I have a motion to go into an executive session for, Tri-Town Teacher Education Association Teachers Negotiations? Kyle, do I have a second? Apparently we're not going into executive. Oh, Jenny. All right, so we're going.
We need a vote.
All in favor of going into executive session? Most of us, all of us, unanimous.